Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at some KC gameplay because KC have just won the Paris Major, the biggest event in Rocket League history, and we're going to see how they did it. My voice is a little bit hoarse, I apologize in advance. I've just got back a couple of days ago from Paris. Amazing event, had a great time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. The show and the production was just incredible in person. I hope that came through on the broadcast for all of you who were watching online. But okay, 2-0 KC in this game against Gentlemates, which is not in fact from the Major. I actually want to start this video by going back to EU Regional 5. We're going to watch one replay. We're going to watch this game from KC versus Gentlemates. Then we're going to watch KC versus Gentlemates from the Major, and we'll also take a look at a game from the Grand Final they played. Or actually, not the Grand Final. The match that felt like the Grand Final, as semi-finals often do at RLCS events. We're going to watch one game against Vitality and see what KC improved on from this match against Gentlemates and from indeed this event and this split against Gentlemates into the Major itself. So KC, let's just set the scene. Now that they've won the event, they're back to the level a lot of us thought they would be at coming into the season. I'm sure a lot of you included in that, and that is contending for events, one of the favorites, one of the best teams in the world. But coming into the Paris Major as EU 4th seed, losing out to NIP, dropping multiple series to Gentlemates, and then of course the Vitality, who beat them in Boston, sitting at EU 1 seed. Nobody really thought KC were trending upwards. It looked like, if anything, they were heading in the wrong direction, and they would be outperformed by their regional rivals, as well as potentially NRG, Twisted Minds, who are popping off in MENA. Maybe even some other NA teams being speculated as part of the strongest NA quartet that's ever been to an RLCS as a collective in the Open era. But okay, that's KC coming in, low expectations. I think in my predictions I had them second, but to be honest, I was being quite generous, and I power ranked them a bit lower than that. I decided to put them through second because I thought Gentlemates Vitality would be a boring final, just to have that as another grand final. But truth be told, coming into the event, I thought genuinely, if I've just purely predicted my brain and not my heart, I would most likely have KC finishing top 4, but not making the final. So they have done exceptionally well here, and now in this game against Gentlemates, game 2 of their grand final at Regional 5, they started well, and then here we are back at 2-2. Now I should mention, at this point in the series, Gentlemates were winning 1-0. They'd already beaten KC in the, I think, the Swiss stage of this tournament, and indeed in the upper bracket of the AFL playoff. Took them down 4-2 there, so Gentlemates winning 2 series of best of 5 and a best of 7 in a row against KC. Now they're in the grand final, they're up 1-0. It seems like Gentlemates were right back at their major winning level, and KC couldn't get their playstyle to click. They couldn't get Atto fully firing in offense, they couldn't get Juicy looking confident. I will say Vatira, whose POV we are on, I don't think I actually mentioned that, but you could probably tell based on process of elimination. I do think Vatira played really well all split. I think he's been having a great season as an individual, and he's maybe the biggest criticism that I've seen being levied towards him was that he's trying to do too much. Think maybe when Zen, Redosin, and Alpha 54 started to struggle, and also future Zen teams between then and now started to struggle. Everybody's saying Zen's trying to do too much, he's forcing the issue, they're conceding tons of easy goals and counterattacks. But that does sound a bit like KC as of late coming into the Major. They're just giving away cheap goals and not able to hold that midfield line like we're used to seeing KC do, particularly when they've had Vatira, Atto as the core, and then they just plug in either a Rise or a Drally or now Juicy. They just have a high defensive line, they don't let the other team breathe, and eventually they break them down. It does require a high level of synergy to do that, to play the way KC play, and credit to them, they didn't really look to change their playstyle all that much. They've stuck to what they think is the way to play the game, and the way that these guys have always played the game, even throughout their struggles, trying to aggress, trying to get the ball up front, trying to swarm their opponents. But as you've seen in this game against Gentlemates, and as you've seen throughout the online split and for earlier parts of the season, KC just weren't synergizing as well as they need to. And then look at Gentlemates. Meanwhile, they're the team who are racking up the shots, racking up the goals. This is now 9 shots to just 4 of KC. They've come back, Gentlemates have, from 2 down and they're now winning 3-2. So yeah, comfortably better. I mean, when you beat KC 2 series in a row before this, and then you beat them 4-2 in game 1, and now you're beating them 3-2 in game 2. Yeah, you've got the you've got the matchup very much in your favor. But KC struggling to establish that midfield pressure, struggling to establish their main game plan, which is to put the other team in defense and then outpace them, bump them, demo them, pressure them until they concede. It's all about forcing mistakes. But KC need to synergize well if they're going to be able to do that. They just haven't been able to do it in this game. So, final 10 seconds. Will they be able to get anything going here? And maybe get some late drama. Alski air dribbling from far. Actually just goes solo and makes it 4-2. So that's the game in the bag. We can see what happened with the last kickoff. But obviously you can't come back from 2 goals down with just 1 second. So that is that for this pre-major game. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to fast forward to the major that just happened this weekend. We're going to watch some KC versus Gentlemates that happened in the exact same stage of the tournament. Okay, let's take a look at KC versus Gentlemates from the major. We're on juicy POV for this game, and we'll see what they did differently. Well, already different. They're up 1-0 in the series instead of trailing 1-0 after game 1. But that was a close game 1, and Vatira does open the scoring with a quick shot to the top corner off a high press that happened off of the kickoff pretty immediately. So overtime game 1 was a minute long. KC were able to edge out that, and that already was a pretty big change from the Gentlemates versus KC matchups we saw online, where Gentlemates were just more clutch, more consistent, especially in those high pressure moments. This time it's KC who were able to emerge victorious. Speaking bigger picture about Paris, of course, everybody's talking about the failure of all the French teams, the French orgs in Lyon, which is absolutely true. The French teams and players did underperform in Lyon relative to previous RLCS lands and seasons. And we're wondering, is it going to happen again? Obviously, KC and Gentlemates are both French orgs, but KC are the players who have previously played, actually, well, 2/3 of them are, in Lyon. Vatira and Atto making top 4. Gentlemates did have players that play in Lyon, all 3 of them. Alski and Nas played in the NIP roster, Archie and GK. But Gentlemates is an org, this is the first time they've played. So I do wonder if this played a factor. I bring it up just as a side topic here, but I wonder if Gentlemates org just having that extra pressure of having so many fans in the building, and you know, that kind of expectation, defending major champions, I wonder if that got to Gentlemates a little bit. I know this is a KC mainly focused video, but maybe if you want, I can make another video discussing Gentlemates' position and where they are now, as they've fallen down the rankings a little bit and had a bit of a disappointing event. If you guys want that, let me know in the comments, because it is a bit interesting to think about. Did Gentlemates, the extra pressure, all that expectation get to them? Because they look like the nervous team. They look like the team making mistakes at this event. KC did not. Now, that being said, up to this point, oh, Vatira nearly makes it 2 there. Great attempt off the backboard, tight angle double. Up until this event, Gentlemates had been performing extremely well. They came out of the group of death with a dominant display. First seed against Space Station, R8, and Furia. And KC obviously took, I think, what I'm going to call the other group of death. There were 2 of them in my opinion. With a convincing win over Vitality, and then pretty comfortable wins over, actually no, not comfortable win over Foot, sorry, I stand corrected. A comeback win against Foot in their opening match, and a comfortable win against Wildcard. So both teams looking pretty solid. KC mainly thanks to their win against Vitality, and Gentlemates winning the group of death. So coming into this, I thought, okay, maybe Gentlemates are the favorites. I'm thinking they're able to take a great match from KC online, where they're winning every time, to the major, where they've just won the group of death. Surely they're going to come out on top here, but no, KC able to establish that high press a lot more often. And I think really for me, what I'm seeing differently in this game compared to the previous one we've watched is KC are just spreading out a little bit better in the pitch. And this is something that you can try at home if you want to synergize better with your ranked teammates, whether you're pre-mid queuing or if you're playing with a party. Think about giving your teammates space on the pitch. This is especially valuable if you're playing with random players, because you can't come with them in voice. at the same time as KC are trying to take space away from Gentlemates by, look at Juicy here, sticking around with low boost in the play in order to intercept that ball as early as possible. He's also creating space for his teammates to move into, and he's making sure that double commits don't occur by just spreading out ever so slightly. And this is what KC have done, I think, better at the Major compared to their online split, is they've not given themselves positions where double commits can even happen or miscommunications can even occur, because they're giving each other more space in the pitch, just subtly, not by a huge margin. They're not backing off all the way to defensive corner boosts while the other players in the team are attacking. They're not running up front to chase somebody for a demo while the other players are defending. It's not that extreme, but for me, they just made the game easier for each other while still having that identity of pressuring their opponents, playing that scrappy style of Rocket League that's very often associated with EU teams, where you have a lot of 50-50s and you have a lot of low boost challenges, a lot of cuts of rotation. They were still able to do all of those things, and Atto, as we'll see in the last game, from his POV, is playing with great confidence, physically off the ball and mechanically on the ball. All this enabled by the extra space they give each other in the pitch. But yeah, you guys try that out yourself. Let me know in the comments if it goes well. It's a really good strategy, as myself and Jack often talk about in the Next Rank channel. Really good strat if you guys are not synergizing well in your ranked games on any given day. Just quickly before we get into the next game, if you don't feel like you're synergizing well with your teammates, give each other more space in the pitch. If you want more discussion about that, then head to the Next Rank links in the description. Jack and I discuss this a lot on the YouTube channel over there, where we will be doing more RLCS post-major breakdowns. But I've got one more game I want to show you in this video. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. It's KC against Vitality, the semi-final. This is game 4. I think the pivotal game of the series that, almost starts off with a 1-0 lead for KC. We're on Atto POV, so I want to discuss him in particular. And already there, just a quick look at the physical play from Atto. That's he's trusting his teammates when he just turns at 0 and makes a play in front of the ball. And here again, just a little love bump onto Zen. His, I think, are they playing RLCS 2s together? I think they are. Yeah, I can't wait for that. But this is a very important game. I think this is actually the game that put KC onto the winning trajectory for the entire major. The other semi-final, Twisted Minds and Shopify Rebellion. Most people watching, including myself, I thought, yeah, KC's probably going to win that. I'll be the first to admit I tried to metagame the prediction contest for the last match, the last round. We had a caster prediction contest going, and I knew the other casters in front of me in the standings were going to pick KC, so I just said, you know what, I'm just going to pick Twisted Minds in the final. Maybe I can usurp someone, but it backfired, and I think I ended up falling down the standings, so maybe lesson learned for me there. I'm a dirty metagaming prediction contest man, but that's a side topic. Let's look and see what Atto's doing here. Just sticking around in the area, looking for maybe potential bumps before he rotates out, and then gets straight back into the play, going right back towards the ball. Not necessarily committing to back post rotation or ball chase rotation there. He just goes in an active area where he can choose depending on what happens. It's a really smart way to rotate back in 3s especially, but also in 2s. Stay active. Don't immediately go for that back corner boost as soon as your teammate is in a 1v1 or a 1v2 defensive position. Just go back towards the area initially, and then if they're all good, you can get the boost after. Okay, 0-0. The reason this game, by the way, is so important is because Vitality had just taken game 3, 3-1. I don't know if I mentioned this game 4 of the final. Or sorry, I keep saying final, semi-final. It felt like a final, really, watching this, as semi-finals often do at RLCS events. KC took the first 2 games. Overtime win in game 1, 2-0 win in game 2. And then coming into game 3, or sorry, actually there wasn't overtime. They just won games 1 and 2 by 1 goal. Game 3, Vitality won 4-0. And now they're looking to go for 2 in a row, back-to-back, which would firmly swing momentum in their favor. And Vitality were on an absolute tear through the bracket, playing incredibly well. For this series, there were 12 wins and just one loss against NIP, SSG, and Manchester City combined. So really, really high level for them. Great form. Of course, KC did have that win against Vitality in the group stage of this exact same tournament, reminding Vitality that KC own the matchup historically. Vatira's record against Zen since Zen came onto the scene started off initially with Zen having success. Since then, it's been Vatira. He's been absolutely dominating the matchup. But yeah, so far no goals to speak of. Atto has been trusting his teammates a lot, lingering up front a little bit, not too long. For bumps, looking for demos, but now here comes Zen, tight angle double tap. Can he hit it? Of course he can. And now KC have got some work to do if they're going to stave off the resurgent Vitality. Atto's been called into question for his online performance. The explosivity, his mechanics, his impact have been lower, and now suddenly Vitality are up 2-0. Great passing play off the kickoff. Exotic smashes it in. And as you can see, so KC need to do something. They need to turn this around. Vitality have got them on the ropes. They've been more clinical in this game. Not a high scoring game, not a high shooting game for either team. But what can KC do to try to come back into this one? It's going to need to start soon. It's just a minute left in the clock. KC are going to need the full team to be playing well. They're going to need Vatira to maintain his high level that he's had all season, in my opinion. Atto's going to need to remind us who he truly is. And Juicy needs to be confident. He is already a major winning player on Gentlemates in the past. We know that he can be so effective. And there's Atto dusting his man, getting him into Vatira. Great trust by Vatira. Especially when you're in the final minute down, you need to trust your first man to get the ball middle. No point being there unless you are going to be first on the scene and put that in like Vatira was there. Atto with the pass. Now looking again. 50 the ball mid. Couldn't get the boost steal in reverse. With 30 seconds left, KC have got Vitality on the back foot. Juicy and Atto, both in the previous play, looking for bumps. There weren't any to be seen, and that is an unbelievable save by Vatira. That was an aerial bump attempt by Sizzy. Vatira dodges it, makes a critical save to keep KC in the match. Keep KC in the game, I should say. Now just 10 seconds to go. What are they going to do from here? Well, first double demo. Atto, fresh off the respawn, makes a run down the left side of the pitch. Vatira hands off the ball to him, and Atto double tap. Just respawn, full send, reads the crossbar. Exotic in net did not. And now KC are ahead. Or no, sorry, not ahead. Now they've tied it. And we are going into overtime unless we got any last second drama here. Don't think Atto's interested in it. Overtime we go. Straight spawn kickoff does leave a little bit of room for tricks, but they're all quite obvious. The teams do tend to just go for standard kickoffs usually these days. So again, just sticking around for those little bumps, which are sometimes as annoying as demos. Just the presence, just the little tap, it throws you off. Oh, that's a great play by Exotic. He got a touch that Atto didn't expect, but Vatira's right there with it. Now here he goes up into the air, low boost, fakes it out. Not a bad attempt there, but luckily for Vitality, they didn't all get faked. And now Atto with the boom slams in the winning goal. Just 27 seconds into overtime, and look at this. We can see again. We'll actually go Vatira POV and see why this was such a good play for them. I think I need to rewind more to see his boost. It said 0 there, but I don't think he had 0. Let's watch it just from just a little bit further back. So here you go, Vatira. Could have shot that a lot harder if he wanted, but he just lets the ball go through by itself, making the clear that much harder for Vitality. Watch again, and you'll see what I mean. If Vatira hits that into Exotic or hits it into the backboard, one of them's going to have it, and it's going to be a hard hit. It's going to be clear. But by hitting it softly, Exotic can't generate a lot of power on his save. I'll show you his POV first, actually, because he is the one who gets the touch. This is really smart by Vatira. Soft touch. Exotic can't generate a lot of power on that, and that allows KC to do what they do. This is what they've been trying to do all season, and it's not been working. Now it is. The synergy, the trust is there. Juicy just really quickly gets the ball back middle. Great dunk onto Zen, and there's no time for Vitality to recover. So, in summary, what did KC do differently, in my opinion, this major? Honestly, not too much. I don't think they made any massive playstyle changes. There aren't really any teams making massive playstyle changes, in my opinion, in Rocket League these days at the highest level. But they were able to give each other more space in the pitch, is something I've noticed. There were far less double commits because players were spreading out and facing different directions, covering different options, and that makes it so obvious for, to them, players who have such good synergy playing with each other, makes it so obvious to them whose ball is whose, and who's going to go for what play, and it enables them to trust each other a whole lot more. Something you need if you're going to play that very aggressive style that they do, where they stick around a low boost, they play for volatile 50-50s a lot of the time, they go direct for goal, very physical, very suffocating style to play against. You need to be synergizing to a very high level if you're going to make that work. It's not a defensive style where you're counter-punching, it's a style where you're forcing mistakes, and the same is true in defense. We didn't get to see it a lot, but there was a lot of defensive matches, very, very impressive defensive matches in this major for KC, where they were getting really good goal line saves, and it really, for me, focused on the same theme, which was option coverage. If somebody's got the save, and if I'm going to highlight one team that I think don't do this very well, it's Twisted Minds from MENA. If you see a teammate is covering a certain part of the goal, don't cover the same part of the goal. You need to trust them. If your teammate's covering the left side of the goal, you can cover the right side, or you can cover the mid pass, or you can cover the backboard, or you can challenge the ball. You can do something else, but something KC and I think NRG have done very well in the past, something Vitality also do quite well, is they cover different options in defense, and they're starting to use that same idea. I think they have been using that same idea in offense, KC. Cover different options. If the other team have different clears or different kind of defensive plays they can go for, cover different options. And that way, you're going to make it much harder for the opponents to get the ball out of defense. Same way as you can make it harder for the opponents to score on you. And I did mention Twisted Minds because I don't think they do that very well. I think they'll just double commit, and their recoveries and mechanics are so good that it does work a lot of the time. But if you full double commit, not just to the ball, but to one idea, okay, we're both going to double commit to covering the exact same part of the goal in defense. We're both going to cover the same clear in offense. There are lots more ways to double commit in Rocket League than people realize. And I think KC, by spreading out, facing different directions, trusting each other, we're able to synergize to a very high level, and they look fantastic going into the second half of the year, the last half of the season. So congrats to them for winning, absolutely deserved, undefeated in the biggest event in Rocket League history. It was an amazing event. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I mentioned earlier, check out the nextrank.com, links in the description. You've got the YouTube channel, got the course, got the Discord, join the community, helping each other get better at Rocket League, and check out Chalkcast links as well. CJ and myself are traveling for a little bit. I think we're going to be back just to start our next month. So June will be live Chalkcast. Start of June will be live Chalkcast episodes, bonus episodes, etc. That you guys can look forward to. All the links, like I said, in the description. But that's all for this one, guys. Congrats against KC. Massively deserved. Awesome result for France and in Paris especially. But yeah, more videos coming out on my channel over the next few days regarding the Paris Major, some other recaps, some other storylines. So be sure to look out for those as well. That's all for this one. I'll see you in the next.